everyone. So this week I feel like we've kind of been living in the KFT, which is like an independent cinema at the university near like Queen's in Belfast. They had like Cinemagic, like a short festival on, so there were kids films, and I also just found a film I kind of wanted to see with the girls called Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, and it was like the cutest film I've ever seen. It was like really heartwarming but also like really funny. Like I laughed till I cried at parts of it. And we just saw a couple of the short like Cinemagic films, which were Ernest and Celestine and 𝐁𝐞𝐤 and the Himalayan Flower, and they were just a bit different than stuff you would usually get in the cinema and kind of touching. And then I just love these flowers. Whenever you go outside the cinema, it makes me feel like spring is actually coming. And we just got a quick lunch, and then we walked into town. We actually walked from like Queen's to the Mac, which is probably like nearly 2 miles or something, but the girls managed it okay. I think there was enough around us to kind of keep them occupied. And this is just like leading down to Botanic Avenue, which is a part of Belfast I really like, and I like to go to it if I kind of want to get away from everything, you know, when you just get like tired of looking at the same scenery all the time. And sometimes with like your kids in school as well, it can just feel really repetitive and like you're always seeing the same people, and like not in a bad way, but just like you kind of want to see like novelty. So yeah, I like to go around there. There's so many restaurants that have opened around here recently. Like we spotted loads of new ones. My kids were commenting on the litter and graffiti and stuff, because I always get the feeling like this part isn't as well kept as where we live. Like it makes me notice basically that people do pick up after themselves in the part of Belfast that we live in, but I don't know, it's just like has a totally different vibe, even though it's not very far away from where we live. And I think my kids enjoy kind of these sorts of days, and I do too, where you just like don't plan the whole day out, like, but kind of figure it out as you go. I had booked a workshop for them in the Mac, which is like an art gallery, and it has events and stuff on, and we knew that they were going to that, but other than that I hadn't planned any other part of the day, and we kind of just wandered around and did what we felt like doing. And I think like sometimes, like when your kids are in school, everything becomes really structured and you're kind of rushing on particular days to squeeze in everything and get stuff done in time. So I like to have kind of days of freedom where I feel more like I did as a student, and you can just kind of roam freely and do what you want. Yeah, and I don't know, like I think the girls, I've sort of trained them to walk pretty far. They don't usually complain too much unless it's really uphill. And we've gone on a few like trips together to like Glasgow, where I used to live, and I basically walked the legs off them there, so this is probably nothing compared to that. This is a pub that I used to love. It was called Auntie Annie's. It's changed now, but I don't know what it's like anymore. And I remember when I was first in a band, that was where we played our first gig, was upstairs in it. And then I tried to go back a week later, like thinking I would get in again, because at the time I was 17 and they had let me in to play drums. But I remember I walked in the door with my friends, and the bouncer just grabbed us and like walked us straight out again. This is a market, which seems to be like a permanent thing now, where there used to be a cinema. I haven't properly looked around it yet, but I'm trying to be good at the minute and not spend too much money, so I'm sort of resisting temptation when I pass things that could make me spend money. It seemed to have like a big tent in the middle where people were having food and drinks, but I don't know if it's like kid friendly or more for adults. It might be somewhere that would be good to go whenever the kids are in school sometime and I'm just like exploring. I think I'm starting to feel old whenever I see that like a lot of the businesses that were around whenever I was an adult have now completely changed, and it's like almost like this new generation of businesses, and it makes me realise like how much time has passed, and it's a bit scary suddenly. I really want to go to a think it's called Grand Central Hotel. It's the one on the left. It's really tall. There's not that many tall buildings in Belfast, but I've heard there's a rooftop bar in it and it's supposed to be nice. This is just like approaching the city hall. I've never actually really been inside it. Apparently there's a cafe and stuff and you can do tours of it, but I kind of just associate it with being a teenager and sitting on benches outside, like hanging out all day. And the girls love this bus, the paddy wagon. They've been talking a lot about leprechauns this week because of St. Patrick's Day, and I think they believe in them. And like, yeah, my daughter said something, I'd done a short about it the other day, about how apparently if you don't wear green on St. Patrick's Day you get pinched by a leprechaun. And this was in the Mac whenever the girls had gone into their workshop. It was called Watercolour World. So I got some hot chocolate and red, and then I went for a walk and explored the galleries and looked at the paintings. It was nice to have time to actually like stop and stare at them for a while instead of being like rushed around by my kids. Yeah, just like, I think this is a little area where they have like reference books you can look at and stuff, and then this was like a proper display, and I just kind of wandered and looked at all the different paintings and took my time over it. I want to find out who this artist is. I really loved every painting done by them and the kind of thick layering of the paint. I love the texture of it, and I just love pastel colours in paintings too, even though I love bright colours like to wear. Yeah, like there were a few people looking around, but it was pretty like quiet and peaceful, and I always feel like it's a bit less like manic than the Ulster Museum because it's not as obvious like a place to go to look at art. I guess it's got a more limited range, but I just like the atmosphere of it a lot. And even if like the girls weren't going to a workshop, I think I would like to just go there just to spend some time because it's such a nice place. There's something about looking out of like a window over parts of a city, and it's just like silent. Like you can see all the movement and everything outside, but you can't hear any of it, that I really like. I actually don't know who any of these artists are. I got a leaflet to take away with me where you can read up on them, which I haven't got around to doing yet, of course, because the rest of the weekend's been a bit crazy, but they weren't kind of clearly marked. I love these little ones too. They're kind of like postcard sized paintings, and the texture of the paint on them. I didn't know what they had used to create that. I really like these paintings too, with the kind of blue figures in them, and I like the fact that when you get up close to it, it's quite simple what the artist has done, but I just think that from a distance it looks really effective. This is just like the side of the cathedral. I really like this little set of paintings as well. And then I stumbled upon a little like exhibition that was based around like breast cancer, and people had basically made all these different busts that they had designed in however way they wanted. I think they were hosting an event for it, but I was about to pick my kids up at this stage, and I didn't really think it would be the kind of thing where you could take kids and they wouldn't just like laugh the whole time. So yeah, then I just decided to try and get each of them on camera because they were all so different, and they had little inscriptions on them as well that were like personal. The girls seem to enjoy their workshop. They always do there. They had done watercolours like in kind of pink tones, and then they had drawn like little pictures on top and kind of layered it. We went to a little falafel house that I don't know if I think I have been here before, but not in a long time. I decided to try the Turkish coffee, and the kids got like, well, one of them ordered a hot chocolate, and then the other one decided that she wanted it too, even though she hadn't initially, and they ended up sharing it with a straw. But yeah, then I also by mistake got some mint tea, but I decided to just like keep it anyway since I'd already made it, and it had fresh mint in it, and the kids liked trying it as well. And they liked pouring the coffee and tea for me, and the cup had a little lid. It was so cute. And then we just were walking back to the car here. We kind of like, this is back on Botanic Avenue. We stopped off at 𝐁𝐤𝐤𝐵𝐵𝐼's, which is a bookshop that I'd pointed out in another video. And they actually have a really good kids section, which I didn't realise. And I treated the girls to a book each. They really like the Wimpy Kid, so they got like the do-it-yourself, like it's like a diary that you fill out by yourself. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.